Welcome to The Amy Gregory Show, the show where real estate gets a reality check and success doesn't require burnout. I'm Amy, your straight shooting, pep talk in your pocket host who took the real estate world by storm with zero cold calls, no door knocking, and a firm no thanks to working 50-hour weeks. 8 years ago, I jumped into real estate with both feet, 3 kids, and a baby on the way. In my rookie year, I broke every rule in the book, earning 6 figures working just 10 hours a week. The industry was shocked. I wasn't. Now, I lead a powerhouse team of over 500 female solo agents nationwide, host retreats, create online courses, and sit proudly in the top 10 of my brokerage with over 85,000 agents. My mission? To help women like you scale your business, trust your intuition, and redefine what success looks like on your terms. So if you're ready to play big, ditch the hustle culture, and build a business that fits your life, not the other way around, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Amy Gregory Show. I am with you today. I've got some questions from my DMs. This is going to be straight from the DMs. We're going to answer some questions, break down how to get started in real estate. One of the first questions I have is, I desperately need clients. How do I make this happen? And I think whether you're a brand new agent or you've been in the business 5, 10, 15 years, one of the things about real estate is that you're going to run into a lull in your market or in your clientele. And so how do you prevent against that? I just said it as if it's like an expectation of like, oh, you'll for sure have a lull, but you can prevent against it. And you have a lull because you have not been prospecting actively 3 months prior. So your business is always built like 3 months in, what's the word I'm looking for? In the past, like look back 3 months, see what you were doing 3 months ago. And if you weren't doing prospecting activities, then you're going to run into a lull. So if you're like on day one and you're like, okay, I need clients tomorrow, what am I going to do? The answer is different than I'm trying to build something long-term. So if I needed clients literally tomorrow, I would open up the MLS and I would go and I would search all of the expired listings. Now, I don't want to build my business on cold calling for the rest of my life. So that's why I use social media, because social media feels more fun to me, feels more engaging, feels more natural. Like I can sit and post to social media while my kids are being loud in the background. I can't cold call while they're being loud in the background. But the question is I desperately need clients. And so if you're in desperate need, then you must be willing to take desperate measures. And if you're not willing to take desperate measures, then you're actually not desperate for clients. Those two things cannot both be true, right? So if I needed a client, if I needed a closing in 30 to 40 days, I would open up the expireds and I would search from like 2 years, 1 year, and listen, we're not farming a specific neighborhood. We're not farming a certain price point at this point because you're desperate, right? So you're going to open up the expireds and you're literally going to call 10 expireds every single day, calling 10 expireds. And here's the math on that. I have my phone out here, so I'm going to run the math on it, is if you call 10, and again, you're desperate. So you're doing this 7 days a week. Otherwise, you're not actually desperate. That means you're calling 70 people every single week. And at a 1% conversion rate, that means you're at 0.7, right? So almost one person will convert, right? But if you did that, let's see, for a whole month, that means theoretically you should almost, it's like 2.8, which is like 3 deals, right? In a month, you should be able to convert 3 of those transactions. And then I know what the next question is like, well, I don't know where to find their phone numbers. Well, I don't know what to say. Well, what if they're mean to me? Again, then you're not desperate enough. You're not desperate enough. So, because then you have to go and figure those things out, right? So there's a couple of different tools you can use. You can use a tool like RedX. You can use a tool like Vulcan 7 to track down phone numbers. You can use the Google like reverse phone number lookup. You can do all of those things. And then a lot of times it's going through and saying like, okay, what is your script? What are you saying? You do have to practice that. So I'm running you at a 1% conversion rate, but theoretically, once you get good at this, you should be able to convert at a 3 to 5% conversion rate because you actually know what to do. And so if you do this, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but spoiler, someone is going to be rude to you and someone is going to hang up on you. So what? Like, okay, like what's, but you do this and then you get a closing every 30 days out of it. And so I guess this is the other math I like to do for myself that's really fun. So let's say you're going to call 10 expireds every single day. And let's see, inside, how long do you think that would take? Maybe an hour to call 10 expireds. So it takes you an hour, and then you do that for a month. There's 30 days in a month. That's 300 phone calls. And let's say you land a $500,000 listing. So that means the commission check on that is $15,000 divided by 300. That means you're getting paid $50 for every phone call. Did you see the math I did on that? So if I'm making $15,000 and it took me 300 phone calls, let's say, to get to that $15,000, I think you'll convert more than just one deal on 300 phone calls. This episode is sponsored by StanStore, the simplest way to turn your social media followers into clients. Want to build your database straight from Instagram without the tech headaches? I've got you. Click the link in the show notes to download my website template for realtors, designed to help you capture leads and grow your business with ease. Because your social media should be more than just likes. It should be your lead generating machine. We're going to run a worst case scenario. So let's say, so you get that $15,000 check. It took you 300 phone calls. So how much is each phone call worth? You take the 15,000, divide it by 300. That means each phone call is worth $50. So if I was standing in your office and for every phone call you made, I handed you $50, how quickly would you make the phone calls? Like, you'd make them really, really fast. The problem is we come up with all these excuses as to like why we're too good to make a phone call. And it's like, you're not too good to make a phone call. I don't know. That's kind of the end of it. So that's what I would do is if I was in desperate need of clients. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my short-term win alongside my long-term win. So if I'm, needing something like ASAP and I know that long-term I don't want to be making cold calls, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to like set up my camera and I'm going to film myself making phone calls to people of like what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and what I'm learning. And I'm going to post that to social media, because the thing about cold calling and social media is that a cold call does not live forever. So like if I'm making a cold call, I pick up the phone, I hold it to my ear, I'm chatting to one person, one call, one person, and then I hang up and nothing ever happens with that phone call again. It doesn't go anywhere. It's done. It's dead. Nothing. Right? Whereas if I'm posting on social media, I still have my phone, but it's like me and my phone, my camera is facing towards my face and I'm here and my phone holds many, many, many people, right? Inside your social media. So that's what they call one to many. So I can say the same thing, the same scripting that I did on my cold call, I can say on social media, and then I can post it to my reels and it lives forever and it will go and prospect clients that don't know me yet, right? It's where people run into you. And so if I'm going to build those concurrently, right? The other thing I'm going to do if I desperately need clients is I am going to, again, open up my MLS. I'm going to look up my brokerage. I'm going to call every listing my brokerage has and offer to hold an open house. Like if you're desperate, then you should be holding 2 open houses on Saturday and an open house on Sunday. Like you could get 4 open houses in a weekend. And again, it's going to require you to work. It's going to require you to work. And I think that's the biggest misnomer that a lot of like new real estate agents have is like, oh, this is so easy. And maybe you look at my content and think, well, Amy makes it look so easy. And I just want to point out that like Tom Brady made it look easy too. Patrick Mahomes makes it look easy. And it's like, they make it look easy because they're so good, right? That is what tells you they are so good, is that they can make it look easy. No, it's just, it's consistently doing the work, right? And so you're going to work. That's what you're going to do. So I would then try and hold 2 open houses on Saturday, 2 open houses on Sunday, or maybe 1 on Friday afternoon, 1 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, whatever. I'm going to try and hit 4. And that probably feels aggressive. But again, if you're desperate for clients, then be aggressive. Like, don't act. I always say, like, if you want business, you should act like it. You should act like you want business, and then you get the business. So cold calling, 10 expireds every single day until you land your listing. And then once you land your listing, you're going to keep doing it. And then you're going to be sitting 4 open houses every single weekend. I have a whole episode on how to like effectively hold an open house. So I will link that in the show notes. And then again, when I'm at the open house, I'm going to be posting social media about being at the open house. And inside my Instagram stories, I'm going to be linking to my IDX feed so that I'm like lead generating on top of those activities, right? And then the other thing I'm going to do is I am going to be sending out, like, I'm going to be consistently posting to social media. So you're calling expireds and then you're sitting at open houses every weekend. The other thing that I actually really like doing too is every morning I like pulling the hot sheets for my local area, and I'm paying attention to neighborhoods or houses that are coming to market where I have friends in those neighborhoods. So let's say it's, a neighborhood in is Morrison Ranch. Okay, that's a popular neighborhood in Gilbert, Arizona. And I know a lot of friends in Morrison Ranch. And if I see something that comes up in Morrison Ranch, I'm going to text my friend that lives in Morrison Ranch and be like, oh my gosh, your neighbor's house just went on the market. We should find you a great neighbor. Who do you know that would love this house? Because if you live in a neighborhood and a house goes on the market, you have a vested interest in having like a good neighbor. And then if your friend who's a real estate agent is like, oh my gosh, this house just hit the market, like we should go walk it, or who do you know that would love this house? And now all of a sudden your friend is thinking like, oh, who would buy that house? And oh, I need to connect them with Amy, right? So it's this thing of like saying top of mind. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. And I love that one. That one's always like paid off really well for me too. And the fact of the matter is it's all these like simple behaviors repeated consistently. And so the first time you make a cold call and expired, you're not going to be that great at it. The first time you hold an open house, you're not going to be that great at it. The first time you show up on Instagram stories, you're not going to be that great at it. Your first reel is not going to be that great. Sending the text on the hot sheets about your friend's neighborhood house, that one's so easy, and it totally gets them talking. And then all of a sudden they might be like, oh, I saw this other house, I wanted to walk it. And then you open the door and say, oh my gosh, I would love to walk that too. And then very quickly you start having business come in the door. I just think one of the things that a lot of real estate agents, they say they're desperate for deals, but they don't behave as if they're desperate for deals. And so if you're actually desperate, and I call this the parable of the iPhone, and this is something I learned with my oldest son. He was probably in junior high and he had broken his iPhone. Mind you, he broke his iPhone slamming it down after he hung up on me because I was bugging him, which I feel like is kind of my job as a mom every now and again. And so I had told him, okay, well, like, I already bought you an iPhone, so if you want a new one, like, I guess you're gonna have to buy yourself a new one. He did not love that response, as you can imagine. He was, quote unquote, so frustrated with me. And I felt like I was super kind in the sense that then I like gave him a list of jobs I was willing to pay him to do. Now, mind you, I was paying at like a $15 an hour rate, which to earn money for an iPhone, in his mind, he's like, oh my gosh, it's going to take so long. It's so tedious. And so as like most, 13-year-old boys would do, he kind of just threw a fit in the sense that got annoyed with me. I'm not doing that. This is so dumb, blah, 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 blah. But meanwhile, he doesn't have a phone to use. So it is making his life uncomfortable, which happens for real estate agents, right? If like you don't have that commission check coming in the mail, it starts to make your life uncomfortable. And then we start to like throw a fit and be like, oh my gosh, I'm desperate. but like he wasn't doing the jobs that were on the table. Like there was literally jobs right there that I was willing to pay him to do, and he's not doing them. So are you actually that frustrated? Are you actually that desperate? And so one morning as he was telling me how frustrated he was, I turned to him and I'm like, I don't believe you. And, you know, his voice got louder. Why wouldn't you believe me? I'm so mad. Da, 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 da. And I said, well, if you were actually frustrated, you would have done something about it. And there's a list of jobs right there and you haven't done anything about it. So you can't possibly be that frustrated not having a phone. And something clicked in his head and he was like, huh. And I just said, I'm like, there's a million ways to earn money for an iPhone. I just gave you a list. If you don't want to do that, do something else. But you could have been halfway to your iPhone by now. Instead, you've just sat and told me how frustrated you are. And he decided to power wash trash cans and he sent out text messages. And literally in less than 3 days, he had enough money for an iPhone. And it was done, right? And so this thing of being like, oh, I'm so desperate, I'm so frustrated. Make sure your behavior is matching your words. And if it's not matching your words, then you're not actually that desperate. And I think most people, for whatever reason, your biggest hurdle is usually yourself, like overcoming your own ego. We kind of convince ourselves that we're like too good to sit in an open house, or we're too good to call an expired, or we're too good to send out postcard mailers. And I'm like, do you want a business that lasts forever or not? Because the ones that last forever, they have been developed in the dark when no one's watching, right? And then you see it on social media or you see the success and you think, oh, that must come natural to them. And I want to be clear that like none of this comes natural to me. Like I was scared out of my mind to come record my first podcast episode, but I had also like done the work prior to be able to do it, right? And so that's the really phenomenal thing about building a business is you might not know how to cold call expireds, but the internet exists and the scripts are on the internet and you can Google expired scripts and you can use ChatGPT to come up with an expired script and you can practice it. You can print it off. You can stand in front of your mirror and practice saying the words so that you have a good cadence to your voice. And I just don't think people realize that that's what everyone's done. Like literally that's what everyone's done. And if you don't think that, it's just an excuse not to do the thing that you don't want to do. And I think a lot of people want to say, well, I don't feel like showing up on social media, or I don't feel like sitting in an open house. And it's like, well, I don't either, but I really like having the paychecks come in, and I don't feel like doing laundry, but I like having clean clothes, and I don't feel like making dinner, but I love eating dinner as a family. And so sometimes it's like you have to get over yourself and like your feelings don't actually matter that much. And it's this great thing when you realize, oh, it doesn't really matter how I feel. I can just do the thing and I can get the result because I love the result. The result changes your life. The result creates, I mean, in real estate especially, it's like the result creates long-term residual income if you build it right. And we'll get into more of how we build that in another episode, but hopefully that helps. If you are struggling to get deals, this is how I would behave. Don't hesitate to go all in. Do anything you can to get those deals under contract. I've helped hundreds of agents kickstart their businesses, and this is always the advice I give them, and I hope it helps you. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to The Amy Gregory Show. If today's episode gave you that I needed this feeling, go ahead and hit subscribe so you never miss a pep talk when you need it most. And hey, if you're ready to scale your business without the burnout, I've got you. Head over to @AmyGregory on Instagram to connect, grab free resources, or join my community of powerhouse women who are redefining real estate success. Until next time, trust your gut, take up space, and remember, you're just one bold move away from your next breakthrough.